Hey everybody, this is Eugene from the Kingdom of God Given Ministry with a thought for you for today. The Apostle Paul, here's a thought. The Apostle Paul considered Old Testament giving as harmful. The Apostle Paul considered the Old Testament giving as harmful. And it's in a verse that he mentioned in Philippians. This is the verse, Philippians 3:7. It says, "But what things were gained to me, those I counted loss for Christ." Now, the things he's talking about that was gained to him was the things that were in the law of Moses. You know, I was looking at this chapter and a thought came to my mind that if there was anybody that would include anything in the Old Testament, in the law of Moses, to the New Testament, it would be the Apostle Paul. I mean, his credentials, his history of affiliated in the law of Moses is more than any of us put together. You know, I read about, let me just read it to you because it's amazing. This is what he said about himself. He said he was circumcised the 8th day, of the stock of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin, and Hebrew of the Hebrews, as touching the law, a Pharisee, concerning zeal, persecuting the church, touching the righteousness which is in the law, blameless. So what he's saying is that, listen, I was circumcised on the 8th day, just like the law of Moses said. He says, I am from the tribe of Benjamin, which is of the stock of Israel. And I got to think about that. I doubt if any of us that's watching this video, even Christianity, can actually say that they are physically from any other tribe of Israel. He said that he was a Hebrew of the Hebrew. As touching the law, he said he was a Pharisee. In other words, he didn't just read it. He studied it. He didn't just study it. He got a master in it. He got a doctorate in it. He went to the point of even teaching the law of Moses. I mean, that's not just reading and passing. He studied it. He said concerning zeal, he persecuted the church. He persecuted the church because of his commitment to the law of Moses. And the last thing he mentioned, he said, touching the righteousness which is in the law of Moses, he said, I was blameless. I was faultless. I knew it and I did it, and I did it because I knew it, and I knew it because I did it, I taught it, I knew everything about the law of Moses. He was all these things that he said he was done, and yet his conclusion was that concerning the law of Moses in Christianity, he considered it harmful. Now, going back to that first verse when he says, and what things were gained to me, those I counted loss for Christ. The word counted means consider. And the word loss means harmful. So what he's saying, he said, all the things that I gained in the law of Moses, I consider harmful in the cause of Christ. It's harmful in the cause of Christ. That's why he didn't teach it. Because it was harmful. So the giving that is in the Old Testament, in the law of Moses, Paul would say, no, that's harmful. And think about it for a minute. Think about it. The doctrine of giving that is in the New Testament. This is the doctrine of giving in the New Testament. And it is to give what God has put in our hearts to give, because it is based on the proportion of faith that God has graciously given each of us. Okay? And because God has given each of us a different proportion of faith to operate in the kingdom of God, that means our giving is going to be different. Just like your calling is different than my calling. Your occupation is different than my occupation. The person that God has given you as far as marriage is different than the person that given me, because it's based on our proportion of faith that God has graciously given each of us. So our giving, which is, remember now, we can't please God unless it's by faith. Well, our giving is based on the faith that God has given each of us. And because God has given each of us a different proportion of faith, that means that our giving, yes, is going to be different. And so the thing is now that's the doctrine of giving. Now think about that in reference to Old Testament giving. If someone taught to give 10%, it would be harmful for those who have the proportion of faith to give 9% or 8% or 7% and so on. They would feel guilty. Wait a minute. He's telling me that I'm supposed to give, but yet I feel in my heart, believe in my heart that God is, it's harmful there. And it would be easy for those who have the faith that to give 15 or 20 or 30%, they wouldn't feel obligated. Wait a minute. You said that the windows of heaven will open up if I give 10%. Guess what I'm going to give? You see, there's a harmful there. And that's why the Apostle Paul never taught anybody what to give or how much to give. What did the Apostle Paul say? 2 Corinthians, he says, every man according as he purposed in his heart, so let him give. Not grudgingly, nor is it necessity, for God loveth a cheerful gift. That's what the Apostle Paul taught. Paul said, what's in your heart? That's what you give. I'm not going to teach you, if I start to teach you things from the Old Testament, it could be harmful. It could cause a harm to you, because even the Apostle Paul said, I don't know what's in your heart. God put it in your heart. I didn't put it in your heart. God put it in your heart. That's what you give. That's the doctrine of giving. We need to look at, as Christians now today, we need to look at it at the Old Testament teachings of giving like the Apostle Paul did. We need to consider it being harmful because it goes against the doctrine of giving that is in the New Testament. So the thing is that Paul considered anything in the Old Testament as harmful for the cause of Christ. And he had great credentials, a great history of the law of Moses to know that it is harmful. So let us focus on the kingdom of God given, the doctrine of giving that is in the New Testament. Let us give what God has put in our hearts to give, and let's encourage others to give what God has put in their heart to give according to the faith that God has graciously given each of us. Y'all have a great day. All right, talk to you later.